In July 1518, a woman stepped into Strasbourg's cobblestone streets and began to dance. Her feet moved without music. Her face showed no joy. Within days, dozens joined her frantic movements. The city's air filled with slapping shoes and labored breaths. Doctors found no fever, no injury, just endless motion. Bread prices had tripled that summer. Plague warnings covered city walls. As dancers collapsed from exhaustion, leaders faced an impossible question. What demon drove them? Before we uncover why Strasbourg became history's strangest dance floor, hit subscribe unless you want your YouTube feed cursed with accordion tutorials. Tap that bell so you won't miss our deep dive into mass hysteria cases. Trust me, you'll want front row seats for this mystery. The nightmare began with one woman's trembling feet. Frau Trofea danced alone for 4 days straight, her slippers tearing on rough cobblestones. City physicians recorded her bleeding soles and wild eyes. No music played, no partner joined, just ceaseless, jerking movements through summer heat. By day 6, her knees showed bone. Still she twirled. Bystanders crossed themselves, whispering of St. Vitus's curse. Divine punishment made flesh. The council ordered musicians to play, hoping to cure her through exhaustion. Within days, dozens more had joined the dance. Barber surgeons bled victims with rusty lancets. Priests led processions carrying relics. Nothing stopped the dance. Only death brought final stillness. What began as 34 trembling bodies soon infected the entire city. By August, 400 citizens jerked like marionettes with cut strings. Councilmen made their fatal mistake, hiring lute players and drummers. They believed music could dance out the madness. It poured gasoline on the fire. By August 1518, up to 400 people were dancing in the streets of Strasbourg. The city council indeed made the situation worse by setting up guild halls and hiring musicians, believing this would help cure the dancers. Chronicles describe teeth clacking in unison, a morbid orchestra. Survivors recalled the sound, bones cracking louder than drumskins in the humid air. Several dozen people died from exhaustion, heart attacks, and strokes during the epidemic. Contemporary accounts describe dancers continuing until they collapsed from exhaustion. Physicians charted the spread like battlefield casualties. Red X's crawled across maps. Taverns first, then bakeries, finally invading homes through thin walls. The dead kept dancing. Families tied corpses' legs with rope, only to find the knots unraveled by dawn. Gravediggers joined the twitching masses. This is historically inaccurate. While there were deaths, there are no records of corpses continuing to dance or gravediggers joining. Night brought no relief. Moonlit dancers cast 100-armed shadows on cathedral walls. Sleep deprivation birthed shared hallucinations, glowing saints, demonic fiddlers. While some people did leave the city, there's no specific historical record of wealthy citizens fleeing to vineyards. The plague lasted about 1 month, peaking in August 1518. The exact death toll is uncertain, but historical records suggest several dozen, not over 100, died during the incident. The council banned flutes and drums first, thinking silence would cure them. Dancers moved to heartbeats and gasps, their slippers shredding on stone. Next came forced pilgrimages, barefoot marches to distant shrines. Dancers left bloody footprints for miles, still twitching before sacred statues. The city council initially hired musicians to play for the dancers, believing music would help cure them. This was later reversed when the dancing worsened. The afflicted were taken to the shrine of St. Vitus in Severn, hoping for divine intervention. Many were also transported to the chapel of St. Vitus in Rothenstein. The council built a wooden stage in the grain market and brought in strong men to support the dancers. Professional dancers were hired to help exhaust the afflicted. Contemporary accounts describe dancers suffering from exhaustion, with some reportedly dying from heart attacks, strokes, and dehydration. Last resort, iron cages hung from market rafters. Citizens pelted the prisoners with rotten fruit, not realizing the dancers welcomed the bruises. Night watch journals tell of dancers chewing their own tongues, of fingernails clawing stone until only raw bone touched the streets. There's no historical evidence of dancers falling into the Rhine. Most cases resolved within several weeks. While some survivors may have experienced lasting effects, there's no documented evidence of continued involuntary movements years later. Modern scientists peel back layers of this ancient mystery. 3 theories dominate: mass hysteria, poison bread, or divine punishment gone rogue. The ergot fungus theory seems compelling at first. This mold grows on damp rye, creating LSD-like compounds. Lab rats, injected with it, twitch eerily. But records show the plague struck during drought. No wet rye, no hallucination reports, just pure, desperate motion. The bread theory crumbles. Mass psychogenic illness enters the spotlight. Modern outbreaks show how stress can short-circuit groups. But why dancing? Why months without collapse? Mass psychogenic illness and environmental stress remain leading theories, not ergot poisoning. No evidence exists for widespread ergot contamination during this period. Religious historians highlight St. Vitus's role. His curse was medieval Europe's go-to explanation for seizures, but entire towns, the scale defies logic. Climate historians reconstruct 1518's disasters: crop failures, syphilis outbreaks, feudal oppression, a pressure cooker for collective breakdown. No VR recreation studies have been documented for the dancing plague. Historical accounts mention days of dancing, not 40 days specifically. No forensic hair analysis exists from dancing plague victims. The Tarantella connection is historically accurate, but emerged in Italy, not Strasbourg. No modern sewage analysis of 1518 Strasbourg exists. The Werther effect was first described in 1974 and cannot be retroactively applied. The truth likely dances between theories. Environmental toxins, cultural beliefs, and trauma created history's perfect storm of motion. What remains undisputed? The human body's terrifying power when mind and society collide. Strasbourg's ghosts still twist through our laboratories. As climate change strains communities, researchers watch closely. Could mass psychogenic illness resurge? Strasbourg's cobbles whisper warnings we must heed. Strasbourg's cobblestones still echo with unanswered questions. Modern Malaysia's laughing epidemics prove mass hysteria never left us. Overlay these 16th century maps with Google Earth. The dance zones align perfectly with bakeries, taverns, places of community and stress. Neuroscience reveals our mirror neurons' dark power. TikTok tics outbreaks show how easily movements spread through screens now. Climate disasters increase yearly. Crop failures return. Could shared trauma ignite new plagues of motion in desperate communities? Tonight, walk any city square. Watch strangers move in perfect rhythm to silent playlists. How different are we really? The final death toll remains carved nowhere, but in Strasbourg's archives, no such line exists about becoming the music. This appears to be poetic fiction. As street lamps flicker on, shadows lengthen across Place Broglie. For a heartbeat, silhouettes appear to twirl, then fade into twilight's embrace. If unraveling history's mysteries makes your brain dance, hit subscribe. We've got more bizarre tales queued up without the blisters. Ring that bell so you never miss when the past gets weird. Until next time, keep those feet still and curiosity moving.